Let's talk about proof of concepts, POC, and let's discuss whether it makes sense to create POCs for big picture structure or any other big apps inside the Atlassian ecosystem. This video is part of our effort to deliver the top quality learning materials for Jira apps, Jira and Confluence itself. If you enjoy this content, then consider supporting the channel by subscribing. And you can also support us by reaching out to us and talking about paid services, which we do offer in those areas. And now back to our discussion. So what inspired me to record this video was actually a discussion with one of our customers today. And we are having such consultations, discussions, chats, talks all the time. And they are so funny. They are so funny because people come to us and they expect answers. I understand that. And I would probably do the same. I would go and I would say, okay, so I have the list of my problems, the list of my requirements. This is what I want. This is what doesn't work, and I want for it to work better. And now, how can the tool help me? So in this kind of discussion, we are very often able to almost immediately say, yes, you will get this. Yes, you will get this as well. Yes, that will also be covered by the tool. But some of the customers want to dig a little bit deeper, and they are asking, okay, but how will it look like? How do I do it? Some of them, actually quite a lot of them, have a certain degree of understanding of how Jira works. And if we throw some things at them, they can understand what we want to say and what we mean by it, right? So the customer today, well, they came with a bunch of questions, but I will read some of them to you. So how do we add initiatives, they ask. And then we're okay, so what are initiatives? How do you work with initiatives? So we ask a whole bunch of questions surrounding the initiatives because we want to understand what they actually mean by an initiative, what's above it, what's underneath it. And then we talk about, okay, so actually what you can do is you can build initiatives as boxes in BigPicture. You can also build initiatives as Jira issues. And if you build it as boxes, it will have these pros and cons. If you build it as Jira issues, it will have these pros and cons. So it's hard to say which concept will be better for you right now. And the customer is, of course, okay, let's go further, let's go deeper. So the next question is, how do we connect our objectives to the initiatives? Okay, what do you mean by objectives? Okay, we understand what your objectives are. So immediately there is an objective module in BigPicture, and you can create the objectives over there, and then you can attach work to those objectives, which could be an initiative. And then your initiative will be connected with other work that is underneath it, and you will have this beautiful stream from your objectives at the very top, through initiatives, through your epics, through user stories, through your tasks and subtasks, all the way to the bottom. Mwah! Wonderful, right? But there is also another option, because the customer asks, okay, so how do I see all the objectives connected to my initiative? And then we are like, aha, so maybe this path is not the best path for you. So we will show you another approach, and we go a totally different alleyway. How do we track problems connected to our initiatives? Problems with a capital P, because problems for them were like things that they analyzed during the initiative, and they try to react to it, they try to prevent those problems, or they try to fix those problems. So we are immediately thinking, okay, so these are more or less risks, right? And there is a risk module in BigPicture, and it allows you to look at your risks or problems, in this case, in a matrix kind of a fashion. And they have probabilities, and they have consequences. Do you use those? No, we don't. Aha! So if you don't, then what do you use to score your problems? Well, we use this and that. Okay, so the matrix is actually customizable. But if you don't want to use the matrix, you can also use the Gantt chart. And if you don't want to use the Gantt chart, you can actually also use the dashboard, and you will have you will be able to reach your requirements through the simple Jira dashboard as well, right? So again, we talk about several different options that you can take to approach a simple requirement from their perspective, right? And of course, we go on and go on. There's another one I have on the list over here. How do I view my data by a target release date? Another interesting one, right? Because we started from, okay, release. So Jira has a built-in feature of releases. So why don't you use that? Are you using it already? Because they are working with Jira. So, maybe they are using it already. No, they are not. Okay, so you will have these and these benefits if you do it this way. But there are actually two different ways of following this as well. If you're not interested in a features that the built-in Jira release or slash version feature gives you. So again, we go through several different options. And at the end, they are sitting and they're like, okay, so we can see that there are many things doable in this tool, but it's actually not that obvious which path do we take. And yes, this is very, very often the case. So you can either go with trial and error method. And I think it's such a bad approach. It's such a bad approach because if you do this, then, and of course, I'm talking about rolling it out for all the people that are supposed to be working with it. So if you don't do it right from the start, which is my preferred way of doing this, and this is how we do it at Genius Gecko, we try to get it right from the start because we understand how important it is. If you don't get it right from the start, people will not be happy about the new tool. If you're introducing a new tool, you want to boost the adoption of this tool as high as possible. There will always be some people. There always be some people pushing back from the very beginning because resistance to change is just built into their system. It will be there automatically. So if you don't take care of showing them that this tool is actually helpful and it will help them do their work properly, better, faster, more efficient, then it will be tough, right? So I think that it's better to actually do it right from the start instead of going with the trial and error method and trying out different options. Okay, this configuration doesn't work. Let's try it from the other side and see how that works, right? And instead of this, it's much, much easier to build a proof of concept. And I'll tell you why. So first of all, it can help you understand different concepts and compare them to one another. Understand the UI UX, not just talk to us and say and hear, okay, this is doable, but actually see how it can be implemented in the system, how it might work in your particular case. It also allows you to bring in the stakeholders and show the system to them. Show the system to them so that they can see what they are buying, how the process will look like from the beginning to the end, what kind of reports they will be able to get in the end, how will they look like, how they can get it, again, what's the UI UX, these things are important, right? And you get all of this, and you might be thinking, okay, so how much money do I have to spend to actually get this? And you may be surprised to hear that this is not that expensive. The simple to medium proof of concept we are able to do within 2 to 3 days. And that includes gathering the requirements. Okay? So that's not that big of a deal. Only for the more advanced ones, where we actually have to do quite a lot of work on the Jira side, not the big picture side, not the structure side, but on the Jira side, then we have to spend more time because building automations, for example, can be time consuming. Adjusting workflows can be time consuming, but doing simple things like adding custom fields, creating new issue types, and reusing the existing workflows, that's easy. It's simple to do. And of course, during the proof of concept, it's always allowed to get some mock-ups and not implement everything and just agree that certain things will work in a similar fashion, and we don't have to build a huge workflow. The 4 statuses that we have right here will be enough for the proof of concept, right? So if you follow this ideology, the proof of concept is actually a very small investment for a very big return, which is understanding that this tool is for you, and also understanding that there are certain options that will work for you, and there are some options that will not work for you, and you don't want to follow that alleyway. And the best of it is that whatever you do in a proof of concept, if you, for example, hire us to do it, we can do it on our environment, right? So we have a bunch of testing environment, demo environment. So you can use one of those to create your proof of concept, and it will be accessible to you. You will be able to click through this. But we can also do it on your environment. And then it will also be the beginning, the seed for the implementation of the tool, which may or may not follow later on. In most cases, after the proof of concept, we get a go and we follow with the full implementation. And then we already have a wonderful starting point. We just need to, add some more things to the system, spend maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 days in addition to that, and you're done. The implementation of the tool is finished. And all you have to do now is make sure that everyone is trained and everybody knows how to use it. But that's a whole different story. I don't want to get into this part in this video not to make it too long. So I hope this is helpful. I hope you understand how important the proof of concept can be in some cases. And I would say that if you're considering the tool and you want to actually see it in action and see it formed to your particular case, your particular requirements, then this is the best way to follow it. And if you want, of course, to follow this path, or in general, you want to talk about your requirements and see if the tool is actually good for you, then you can always reach out to us. The contact information is in the description of this video. It probably shows somewhere here on the screen as well. And then we will have a wonderful chat about your requirements and how the tools cover those requirements and how we can follow up with the next steps in the process to help you make this a reality. Hopefully this has been helpful. If it was, then consider giving this video a like and dropping a comment underneath it. It will help other users reach this content more easily. Of course, consider subscribing to the channel. And if you want to reach out to us for any kind of paid services in this area, we will be so happy to work with you. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be seeing you in one of the next videos.